Bill Russell is the greatest winner that sports has ever known. 55 consecutive wins in college, back-to-back NCAA championships, 11 NBA championships, and 13 seasons played.
Bill Russell is the greatest winner in the history of American team sports and one of the most important athletes that ever lived. The impact he made in his extraordinary life will be remembered forever, on and off the court. Born in West Monroe, Louisiana in 1934, William Felton Russell grew up in a poor, segregated town. Young Bill and his family suffered from racism in their daily lives in the South. Eventually, the Russell family was forced to move to the West looking for work, and they settled in Oakland, California. Conditions weren't much better there, and Bill was forced to live in public housing projects. But he was also able to find basketball. The game became extremely important to Bill at the age of 12, when his mother unexpectedly passed away. Bill found solace on the court, where he could escape the harshness of the world. However, his fine basketball skills were lacking, and he was nearly cut from the high school team despite his physical prowess. When college scouts first saw him, they mostly ignored him. They cited his, quote, atrocious fundamentals and his low scoring output. But Bill worked tirelessly on his unique style of defense. Leaping to block shots was uncommon, especially from the help side at the beginning of his era. He also studied his opponent's moves to prepare for them in the future, which was unheard of as a high schooler in the 1950s. His hard work paid off when recruiter Hal DeJulio from the University of San Francisco saw a warrior with an extraordinary instinct for the game and a knack for the clutch defensive play. He offered Bill a scholarship, which Russell eagerly accepted. This was the first real opportunity where Bill was able to use basketball as an escape to poverty, and he vowed to take advantage of this foundational moment. At USF, Coach Wolpert emphasized defense and the deliberate half-court style, which played perfectly to Russell's strengths. Russell's game took off, and he would change college basketball forever. The NCAA literally had to change the rules on defense, widening the lane and prohibiting basket interference. But it hardly mattered. Russell was imposing his will each night, and USF was winning in ways they never had before. Even more important is that in 1954, the USF squad was the first major college to start 3 African-American players: Casey Jones, Hal Perry, and Russell. They were dominant, winning 28 out of 29 games at one point in their season on their way to a championship. Russell was the MVP of the Final Four, averaging over 20 points and 20 rebounds. And yet, he still felt the effects of discrimination when he was not selected as Player of the Year for the NCAA. Russell acknowledged that the best way to fight these injustices was to put his team first and not worry about individual awards. The winning would speak for itself, and he was just getting started. After declining an invite to play with the Harlem Globetrotters, which was a huge paycheck, and an incident also marred by racism where the owner would not directly speak to Russell, Bill entered the 1956 NBA draft. Red Auerbach and the Boston Celtics took aim at Bill, but it was not cheap. The Celtics did not have a high draft pick, so Auerbach had to convince multiple teams to trade spots, and eventually Russell was a Celtic. In between his final season at USF and the NBA, Russell captained the 1956 Olympic basketball team. There, he led the team to gold in Melbourne, Australia, further building his legacy as someone who won at every level. Once in the NBA, the Celtics immediately won the NBA title in 1957, beating the rival St. Louis Hawks. Russell averaged 14 points and nearly 20 rebounds with his stellar defense, and yet his teammates still won Rookie of the Year. After a tough loss in the NBA Finals in his second year, Bill and the Celtics would pour it on. The Celtics won 8 straight NBA championships between 1958 and 1966. Bill finally got his individual due, winning 5 MVPs in that span. And he consistently beat out his biggest rival, Wilt Chamberlain, for both the award as well as the NBA title. It was proof that defense, commitment to teamwork, and rugged determination were all worth it for Bill. In 1967, Red Auerbach retired, and he chose Russell to be the player/coach of the Celtics. This would make Bill the first African-American head coach in NBA history. Though he and his Celtics dynasty were aging, Russell would play and coach them to 2 more titles in 3 years. When it was all said and done, Russell had won 11 NBA titles. He had accrued countless statistics and awards, and he had done it all in spite of the hurdles he faced daily. Today, the NBA Finals MVP trophy is called the Bill Russell Trophy, as a testament to his finals dominance. Russell, who once said he, quote, owed the public nothing, had become a distinct figure in American civil rights movements, and was an ambassador to both basketball and racial progress. From the rural South to the Oakland projects and all the way to becoming one of the most decorated sports-turned-public figures, Bill did it with a passion for justice and a knack for the clutch. Rest in peace, Bill Russell.